Hello, my friends. Jacob is here again, and so are you, and I am very thankful that you are. The Olympics are here. Hurrah! Everybody who saw them can probably gather together in like a small room because I guess the ratings are really, really bad this year. I guess like not many people are watching. But I watched because so many of you reached out to me and you said, Jacob, oh my goodness, you just did a video about the Obamas and a snowflake digital chip type of a thing. Did you see the Olympics? So of course I had to watch the opening games when so many of you are out there. We're all working together. We're all giving me the story. I love it. And of course, if you're new to the channel, I take these world events, I look at them, and sometimes I'm inspired to dig a little deeper, if you will, to find out what's really hiding there. You know, because it's the writer in me, because I like to write. So I see life like a big motion picture, a motion picture that you are the star of. Isn't that great? The lead character, right? The beginning and the end of your story is you, but you are much more than you know. And that's what you find out. So we have all of these world events that go down, these things that take place. Some people believe that when they do these big events, that they're actually big rituals. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but I've done enough programs about the Olympics and about all of the, these huge shows to see that sometimes things that they've done in the past are suspect because they kind of appear in the future. Hence, check out my last couple of videos on the Olympic opening and closing ceremonies. You all reached out to me. Now, why is this? Okay, so I did this YouTube short with Barack Obama, and it was Michelle. She posted out something on Instagram or something, Instacart. I don't know what it is. You know me, I'm not that great with the whole social media thing. You think I'd be better, considering I need to be to reach more people. But she put something out. It was New Year's Eve. I did a whole short about it. If you've seen it, I apologize. It's like 50 seconds. I'm going to play it again for the people that didn't. But take a look at it. Does this New Year's Eve picture from Michelle Obama mean the mark of the beast has been taken? Well, if you look a little closer, it's a little freaky, I'll be honest. The word loading kind of denotes that something's being transmitted and kind of taking over, like a computer program. When things are loading, it's changing the memory of something. And you look up here and it looks kind of like a barcode. I mean, look, it kind of does, right? But it was just her and her boo. And it's no big deal. Probably just a happy new year, except for when you look up what a boo is, besides being like boo, it stinks. A boo is something like a vampire, kind of steals your skin, takes over your soul. But hey, whatever. It probably means nothing. If you look at that, it kind of looks a little freaky, a little sci-fi-esque. But don't worry, transhumanism, nanotechnology, it's a pants-on-fire theory. It's not real, so don't worry. Now, what's weird about all that is I pointed out that in those glasses you saw what looked like a snowflake, but it also looked kind of like a chip, like a computer chip. I even gave an example. So imagine my surprise when here all of a sudden everybody's reaching out to me and saying, did you see the Olympics opening ceremony? Which happened, I guess, post this short that I did, and it featured snowflakes, like snowflakes everywhere you look. Now I know what you're saying. You're saying, Jacob, what's the big deal? It's the Winter Olympics, right? Snowflakes make sense. And that's what I thought too. But something inside of me, something was like eating away at me and saying, okay, let's dig a little deeper. Let's find out what this is. So, I start looking into snowflakes. And what do I find? Oh, it's weird. Because you see, there are a lot of people out there, and I'm not saying I'm one of them, okay, that think that they want everybody tracked and, you know, they call it like the mark of the beast. Everybody's into this mark of the beast thing. And once again, I've spoken many times about what that really is and how it's spiritual and it's not anything literal. But yeah, they want to basically tag everybody and track everybody. They want everybody to have some kind of an ID, if you will. So imagine my surprise when I look up and I find out that snowflakes are called IDs. Snowflake IDs, actually. You know, I'm on the Twitter, right? I do little tweets. I've got a lot of followers. I got like 11,000 followers. Not even. So you should follow me on Twitter, please, will you? So that I can tweet at you some more. So anyway, yeah, it's a unique identifier. That's strange. It's like a tag, right? It's a unique identifier used in distributed computing. The format was created by Twitter. Now it's used as IDs for tweets. Snowflake's an ID, huh? You got a lot of people thinking. Goofy things, weird things. Weird things like the dream that I had at the very beginning of all this nonsense with the virus of the crown. I had this weird dream. This is going back to like 2020. So weird. I'll just play it so you know I'm not making up stories. Me and the family, we were in like this hotel. Danielle was like a waitress because she had to make money. And some like, Chinese scientist lady gave me a camera to eat. Give me a camera to eat. How weird is that, right? And I took a bite, and then I heard someone say something in the dream. I know this sounds a little goofy. I know it's a dream, but it's still weird, right? Especially with what's going on. And in the dream, I hear, it's nanotechnology tracking device. So in the dream, I say, well, look, I'm kind of like in this niche world on YouTube, right? I don't really trust, I don't really trust everything. And so I really don't want to be tracked. So I kind of took that data, took that thing. I took the stuff that the scientist had. And you know what she did? There's a big red button. She went like this. Boom! She screamed non-compliant. But in the dream, I was told to eat this. I was told to eat this camera. And then I was told that it was actually like a nanotechnology tracking device, which is weird, right? Which is weird. Weirder still, so many people, I'll talk about goofy things, like jellyfish and this, that, and the other thing, because for whatever reason, it's there, and then there's something in the world that correlates to it. And people are like, that's what's going on. I get it, the brain is like a biological computer. I've done programs about how it's possible to kind of hack the human brain. Did a video a couple of years ago about a TED Talk where basically he hooked up, the muscles to the mind of another girl, and she thinks something, closes her hand, and then his hand closes on its own. There are people that believe, I'm not saying I'm one of them, but I'm saying if this is a great motion picture, that people are going to become like zombies, that there's something's going to take over. Something's downloading, like the Obama's glasses where it said loading, right? With that snowflake. Of course, I think this is all science fiction gobbledygook. So I'm not like making a big deal out of this, all right? So I'm not like saying anything. I got to say, I'm not saying anything, but when you see these events and they start off the way they do, it just seems very, very suspect, Like the whole opening ceremony of the Olympics, it started out with the song, the Atheist theme song, the Atheist anthem. Imagine. Yeah, that's how they started the whole thing. They just had a bunch of people walking, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, across with that music playing, and in the background you see all the pictures of all the, everybody with their mask, which we've all gone through it. It's been so hard, right? This is terrible, all this stuff, but we're coming together, right? The people that are in charge of everything, we care. That's what they're saying. They're saying we care. They saying we care on supposedly what should have been like a big platform for the world that everybody would watch, but like nobody showed up. Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine, if you will. Oh, good. If there's no heaven, we got some issues because righteousness, peace, and joy, there's going to be a new heaven. There's going to be a new earth. We're in the last, what I would call like the last pangs of this new world order, or like we're in the last days of the beast system. This is where it all comes to a head. This is my feeling. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's what I just shared on the about the Super Bowl, or as some of you like to point out, the superb owl. The superb owl, because they got they like that idol worship of the owl Moloch. You always see the owls in all the shows, and you see the owls and all of this goofy symbolism. But the Super Bowl, other people like to point out, it's going to be a bowl of God's wrath. But my video that I just shared, very symbolic, very spiritual message to it. Thankfully, Before It's News, that website, beforeitsnews.com, just posted something, and I was like the number one, with the number one video or something on their site. And my buddy Simon, who reached out at the very beginning when this first happened. That was like one of the telltale signs that my channel was about to take off. I didn't have that many subscribers at that time back then, but they featured me there, and then boom, here we are now, right? Just over 175,000. So grateful for all of you that really understand that there's more to this goofy guy, and there's more to all this than just what it seems, that you're all part of something, that we're doing something, that we're building here, and that we're really, above all else, what I'd like to do is I'm just trying to encourage faith. I'm trying to have a revolution of thinking, not like a revolution where you're going to hurt other people. I want people to love, to forgive, to know the joy of the Lord, which is beyond our understanding today. And it's coming. I mean, that's really what the channel's all about. All this other stuff is kind of to get you to listen and see that maybe these things come together for a reason. But even in their presentation, it looked like a digital floor was taking in like a circuit board. Everything was very digital-esque, as if AI has already taken over. And the snowflake is the next thing. Like maybe that's why the Obamas were wearing that probably not, right? Probably. And it's just very suspect when you got the word loading on here. And as I expressed in the video, loading is when, you're basically downloading new information. You're changing the memory of something. And if people are hackable, not saying they are, it's just a little weird because, people are into all these goofy things. Probably just meant, we're into technology, new day, 2022, which is, by the way, six, right? 6. A lot of people, now you'll see like Build Back Better. A lot of channels now put the 6 there, like like as if the 6 is the B. Build Back Better with the 6, right? You know me on the show. I think I'm not like tooting my own horn because I don't know where any of this stuff came from. I just started thinking you're going to see it everywhere. I started telling you were going to see it everywhere. And everybody's seeing it everywhere. I shared so many articles, so many things where you see 666 all the time. Then you had Joe Biden out there. But 6 minutes, 6 days, 6 hours or whatever, it was like right after I started saying you'll see it everywhere. And I'll be darned, but on Facebook, I put my post of the Super Bowl up and someone just said, look, I can't help getting away from this, where you see the two helmets, right? You see the Bengals and the Rams. But when you look at it, the main logo, you see B and then LA for Los Angeles, and it looks like blah. How funny is that, right? How funny is that? I didn't even include that, but that's huge. Blah, right there. Remember we talked about the blah, 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 and I said, it's 666 because it's in that language. Take a look. That's what blah literally means. ironic. We've been taught to say blah, 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 right? Right? Blah, blah, blah. We've been taught to say these things. We've been taught to say a lot of things. Some people told me in my YouTube short that the whole thing with the boo hag was stretch, right? Because I understand that Felicia Lockhart, from the Lockhart perspective, reached out to me and said, just so you know, Jacob, I loved it, but boo is like a term of endearment. I knew that, but in a minute I couldn't really get across the fact that, ironically, we take, you'll take a word that means something that is exact opposite of what you should be sharing it as. Like boo is ghosts say boo. Boo is there's a connotation with being scared. Boo is what people say when you take the stage and they don't like you. They go boo. So it's a sign and a word of disapproval. It is a word that is used to frighten, to scare, and it's connected to ghosting. Not the best word to be calling the love of your life, my boo, right? It's kind of... So that's why I shared the little boo hag thing. It was probably, it was a little bit of a stretch. But you know what? The part of the show is stretching, right? Just kind of looking at things and taking a different perspective. Just because. Because what else? There's nothing to watch on TV, right? You probably spend a billion dollars on Netflix, Prime, Apple TV. They got like one good show here or there. And then what do? You spend all night going through all these different apps trying to find something. Remember the days when you could just sit down, watch TV? Remember those days? Now you hopefully just sit down and you watch me. And if you are watching me, will you tell your friends to do the same thing? Will you share the channel around? I appreciate it. So I thought it was strange with the snowflake piece. I'm like, why is it everywhere? So I look a little bit deeper and I find out that it's connected to IDs. There's even a company. This is bonkers, okay? There's even a company called Snowflake. Earlier this year, Californians were getting, protected against the virus of the crown. Whatever they were telling you had to do, or you had to lose your job. You got to do it or you can't get a milkshake. Whatever they were. So there's a company that was called Snowflake that was in charge of basically tracking all of this. Guess what they're in charge of now? Coming up with the ID, a digital ID for everybody. Interesting. It's a snowflake. I'm just saying. Snowflakes are known as unique identifiers. Snowflake IDs, they're known as unique identifiers. They identify you. It's like tracks you. It's interesting. Maybe that's kind of the bigger meaning. So we're all going to come together as one. That's what it seems to be saying. We're all going to come together as, imagine, no faith, no nothing, but we're all going to be okay. And we'll know who you are at all times. I'm not saying that's the case, because they probably already do. Let's be honest. I'm with my phone all the time. If they want to find me, they can find me. I'm always in the same place. I don't really do much. I'm a stay-at-home guy. I like taking care of things. I love to cook. I'm a big fan of making things for the family, like to clean. I like taking care of people. I'm a homebody. I dwell in tents. I'm not a guy who goes out there and hunts. I'm not a big hunter. I'm not going to go conquer the world. I would rather, serve the world, take care of you, help you out. Probably nothing. It's probably nothing. It's probably just the snowflake really just has to do with winter. That's what it's got. The whole thing started off kind of as a tribute to spring, and it looked like they had these LED green little look like little hairs, and they did perform this thing, and it kind of looked like a jellyfish, believe it or not. But who knows? It reminded me of that discovery they just made, where they have all of these this strange discovery, this one. this whole thing over there with the Olympics in Beijing, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. You know, they're making a big deal out of the fact that the guy who lit the torch is like a 20-year-old cross-country skier. He trained for years, and he's a Uyghur. You know, that they talk about how they do nice things for them, and then the world says, no, you do really horrible, terrible things to them, and... Some people were, you know, refusing to show up because of what they call human rights issues. But what they were trying to send a message, they're like, look at us. We have a 20-year-old cross-country skier who's lighting the torch. We can't be that bad, right? I don't know. I'm not in China. I don't know. I don't know who to trust about anything anymore. You know what I mean? Just because they show it to you and they tell you it's true. Who knows? Who knows? That God knows, right? So that's how I judge things now. By if it's love, and if it's compassionate, and if it's sensitive, if it's long-suffering, if it's patient, then I know that people are probably on the right level. But if it's not, you know, and it's abusive, and it's cruel, and it's selfish, and self-absorbed, and spooky, and wants to scare you and not encourage you, I think probably not in the best interest of me. But don't worry, you got people like Nancy Pelosi who's warning the athletes, saying, whatever you do, don't you go saying anything, because you don't know what they're going to do to your family. Can you believe that? She went on there and was trying to scare athletes into speaking up about what they consider to be human rights abuses. And then she goes on to say, like some guy comes over to you and says, look, I know you know about the bad things that we're doing in the family business, but don't you say anything. I'm going to break your toes. Then I'm going to break your children's toes. Then I'm going to break your dog's toes. I got a foot fetish. That's what the guy will say. And I like to break toes. Nancy didn't threaten anybody's phalanges being broken off, but did say, you don't know what they're going to do to you. They're brutal. Or your family. Trying to scare them. And then you think to yourself, well, hang on a second. Why would you not want them to complain if there's bad things going on? And then you remember how much money that the Pelosi's and their family make with all the dealings over there. It's just, it just doesn't seem fair, does it? But that's okay. God's got a plan. God's working it all out. That's why he sent us the Snowflake to talk about. So I don't know, it wasn't like I wanted to come on here and say, oh no, the snowflake, be careful of the snowflakes. But, you know, it's just a little strange. I think that here I was talking about it, and I was quite taken by the look of a snowflake in this thing, and I just kind of pushed it off to, well, it's, you know, it's the new year and things are cold, but now it looks like, you know, maybe there's a little more. I don't know. I didn't know snowflakes were identifying trackers. I didn't know that they were unique IDs. I didn't know. That was the term for knowing who's who, was a snowflake. Hey, this company Snowflakes, they just introduced the digital record portal and shareable digital proof. Snowflake, it's the data backbone, they say, of California's digital record system. And we got snowflakes all over. We got snowflakes all over the opening ceremonies. Probably means nothing. Probably means they got bigger problems over there in China. They do. They by the way, so much so because their birth rate is so far down, they've lost it's like they had like this one China policy, turned out to be, I guess, a nightmare. They've lost nobody's giving birth anymore. I think they're down. The Bureau of Statistics reported that 10.6 million babies were born last year. That's down 12 million in 2020. It's the lowest number in recorded history. So you know what they're doing? Chinese scientists have built a robot nanny to take care of babies in an artificial womb. Now, you heard me. They're growing babies like in the Matrix. And if you're growing a baby, does that mean, is that a human being? Is that how a human being? Or is that a product of a corporation? I don't know. That's a talk for another day. This was kind of a bummer of a show. I don't know why I thought that this would be fun to talk about. Maybe it's because, I don't like always looking at things and thinking the worst. Maybe it has nothing to do with IDs, and maybe it has nothing to do with any kind of record system. Maybe the snowflake is just a snowflake after all. I don't know. You tell me in the comment section. And remember, I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? I don't have any advice to give except for the fact that you better pray. I do know that God is real. I do know that faith is important. And I do know that if you are not seeking the truth, no matter what the cost, and you're not praying to God, you are going to be sorry that you didn't. Because when things get a little kooky, and they're going to get very kooky probably this year. Like I said, I've wrote about it in my novel, and maybe I'll read some of it to you. Things are going to get kooky, and if you don't have that faith, man, it's not going to be good for you, because you're going to feel like you're in a house when the storm's coming that has no foundation. Your house is going to be blown over, right? Don't be like the little piggy who doesn't build it smart. Build it smart. I actually this is something that I wrote many years ago, entered into evidence. You've probably heard it before. 9/11/2022. It's a intercepted communication that is shared as Exhibit C. And it's kind of stands alone outside of the novel, because the novel takes place earlier in Thomas James's life. But let me just read this to you, because it's 2022. I'm writing to you because we face an even greater threat today than before. The world is quickly changing. With each passing day, more of our lost brothers and sisters hear our voice and have found their way back to us. The glorious revelation of who we truly are, that the principalities and powers of this world have fought to keep hidden, is now being shared abroad. I applaud each of you for keeping your tongues until the appointed time. We've taken upon ourselves the great, terrible task of sharing a truth so great that if we were to reveal ourselves to the world too soon, it would most surely be our end. I'm filled with sorrow that I had to keep until now the deepest and most powerful message of all from your ears. This was for your own good and for the good of our brothers and sisters in bond. To the point of my words, the messenger has delivered to each of you pages that I labored to write for many years. This work, which may seem to the world as a fantasy. I'll say it again. This work, which may seem to the world a mere fantasy, hides the keys to unlocking the very secret of creation. To those that are without understanding, these following pages will seem an idle tale meant to entertain, or the ravings of a delusional man. However, I assure you, this journey you are about to embark on will prove these words true. It's of the utmost importance that you don't keep these pages to yourself. They're now meant to be shared far and wide. All the world must be made aware of this book. We do this with the hope that the blind may be given their sight again and the corruption of dominion will fall. I want you to know how deep my love grows towards each of you. I want you to know I know of your sacrifices, and I have heard of your many trials for which my heart breaks. Wisdom tells me the end of this journey will justify the means, and our suffering will seem as nothing compared to the joy and the power we inherit. I ache for the moment our purpose is fulfilled, and the darkness holding mankind in chains is extinguished by our light. I have not abandoned you. It was for your good that I went away, but know this, I've never left you, and I'll always be with you. The good work that's begun within you will continue until my revealing again. We fought the good fight within. Now that fight begins without. Now the truth will be shouted from the rooftops, and what a day it will be. Your life is not what it appears to be. What will happen when the truth is poured out in a world that is deceived? To this question I have but one answer. Change. The truth will change you. And my words are the instruments of this change. We must stand firm and play the parts we're meant to play so we can be that change for those who cannot see. I've told you in days past, how you'll be hated, falsely accused, condemned, and hunted because of your ability to hear the words I speak. But be of good cheer, my friends, for we cannot fail. We will overcome this world with good. Evil will not overcome us. Regard not your bonds or persecutions, distress, famine, or war. We will always be free. We will be liberated, at peace, full, and never wanting. We have within us so great a treasure that the reach of dominion is of no effect. Soon, very soon, you will understand that where you are is where you were always meant to be, and where you are going is beyond your greatest dream. Keep these pages safe. Keep these pages close. You will do with them as you are meant to do with them. Never question, never regret, never fear that you've been a failure. For every single instant of every single moment was of absolute necessity to bring you right here and right now, hearing these words that follow. A true account of my journey. The past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist, the moment is all that matters. This moment is a treasure. This is why we call it the present. Blessed are those who do not condemn themselves in what they allow. Blessed are those who do no harm. Blessed are those that do not fear what may be. Fear is the root of all suffering. Fear is the father of all lies and pain, reserved for destruction by the words hidden within the pages you're about to read. The desire of your heart has been for this moment. The declaration of liberty is at hand. Let love be your guide. Let patience rule your heart. Let joy heal you in your time of trouble. Follow the path set before you, even though it may seem a grievous thing. It will be your devotion to share what you find in these pages that brings you the purpose you so desperately seek. For it will be your words and your actions that ignite this world once again in what is most certainly humanity's greatest and most terrifying hour. Written in 2022. Do not try and find me. Do not believe that the messenger is greater than the message. Do not think higher of yourselves than others, for blindness in part has happened to your brothers and sisters in bonds, so you could play a role in helping set them free. For now, know how close you are to my heart. You may not see me, but I keep my eyes firmly planted on you. You're never alone, for we are one. As for this note, my messenger will see fit to release it to the world as a work of fiction when the time is right, causing no alarm among the masses until after the truth of this great work is revealed. Trust your heart, trust each other, and know that when those who read these pages are gathered together, so too will begin mankind's ascent out of this grave called life. Keep vigil, keep the faith, keep to yourself, and keep watch, for the hour is fast approaching. Yours in the faith, Thomas James. It's a little bit of a long letter, but it does kind of feel like we're in that moment, right? I didn't know that 2022 would be as goofy as it is right now when I wrote it, but I felt it. And here we are, and it's exciting because I believe we're on the cusp of something great, no matter how many snowflakes are around. So, do me a favor, share the channel around, tell your friends, have the best day ever. I love you, thank you, my patrons, thank you to those who help me on Patreon, thank you to those who help me on PayPal, thank you for those that just, share the videos around and hit like and comment. It all matters to me, and I'm grateful for all of it. I love all of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
September 10th. Mars hangs closer to the Earth than it has in 6,000 years. Like the light that led men from the East to a child in a manger, it could well be a sign of good things to come. Thomas James shall be his name. The world will change because of him. In the small town of Bethel, in a time not unlike our own, a child with a great purpose is born. Years later, alienated by his peers and abused, Thomas suffers a devastating loss. When it appears he has nothing left to live for in the world, this is when his true calling begins. while trying to escape the sinister powers that be, a terrifying vision haunts him. Miraculous events seem to follow the peculiar young man as he struggles to come to terms with what he was born to do. The stage is set. The time is at hand. The truth will rise and a revolution will begin. The startling revelation of who Thomas James is, truly, will change the lives of those around him and set off a chain of events long ago foretold. There is more to this novel than one might think. Inside these pages hides a treasure just waiting to be discovered. So if you've ever wondered if there's more to life, or why it is we suffer, then this story will not only captivate you, it may just open your eyes to a truth that could set you free. Find out what is in us all that makes us heed the calling. Click it.